The movie's story is about a really overweight professor named Sherman Klump. He wasn't just big, he was also a bit clumsy. Because of this, all his students made fun of him. One day, his clumsiness got him into a lot of trouble. He went to college and found over 5,000 hamsters running wild. They looked like mice and were everywhere, in people's pants, sandwiches, just everywhere. After some checking, they found out how the hamsters got loose. It turns out Sherman accidentally pressed a button on his big belly, and that's how they all escaped. Now they were all over the college. While this chaos was happening, Sherman went to his favorite hamster, who was also very overweight. Sherman and his team were working on an experiment to rebuild DNA so that very fat people could lose weight easily. They tried this experiment on his favorite hamster. The experiment seemed to work, and the hamster lost weight really fast. Now they knew how useful this formula was and how quickly it worked. The person Sherman worked with said, "We can give these hamsters a higher dose of this formula." But Sherman said, "No, too much can cause problems." Then the dean called Sherman to his office and talked about the whole hamster mess he caused. The dean said, "This happened because of you, and it cost the department a lot of money. Be careful with your experiments in the lab. I'm warning you, I won't accept another mistake like this," because the college had a big donor who gave them a lot of money, and they didn't want to lose that donor at any cost. In the next scene, Sherman was teaching at the board, but his big belly kept erasing what he wrote, and all the students laughed at him. Then, a chemistry graduate teacher came into the room. She told Sherman she loved his work and always wanted to meet him. Later, Sherman had dinner with his whole family, and everyone in his family was very overweight, but his dad didn't mind. He said being fat was something to be proud of. He told Sherman, "You can do anything in life, except one thing. Never think about losing weight, and you won't lose weight." His dad also had some habits that everyone made fun of. His family laughed at him, but Sherman didn't like it at all. When Sherman went outside, his mom told him, "You are very attractive. You are perfect just the way you are. Don't ever feel bad about yourself." Sherman felt very confident after his mom's compliments, and he asked the chemistry teacher to go to dinner with him. Luckily, she said yes, and they decided to meet on Friday. Later, Sherman went home excited and watched TV where a host said, "We can do it." Sherman said along with her, "Yes, I can do it, and I will lose weight." With 3 days left until his date with the teacher, Sherman joined a gym. He took some classes, hoping to lose weight, but it took a lot of effort. Finally, Friday came, and Sherman went to a club with the chemistry teacher. There was a comedian there who was making fun of everyone's faces. When he saw Sherman, he started making jokes about him. He told jokes about Sherman one by one, making everyone laugh. This made Sherman really worried. When he came back to her, the chemistry teacher said, "Don't worry." Sherman tried to make her feel better, but he was still upset inside. He gave up on trying to lose weight. When he got home, he ate a lot of junk food. He had tried so hard to lose weight, but it didn't work. He fell asleep while eating. He had a dream that he had a terrible heart attack because he was so overweight. Also, in the hospital, Sherman's weight kept increasing until he started to swell up, and he became bigger than the hospital building and destroyed the whole city. Then he woke up. Now Sherman thought, even after going to the gym and eating healthy, nothing good happened. So, he decided to try the experimental serum on himself. Sherman went to the lab at night and made the formula. He injected the formula into his body. At first, it seemed like the experiment failed because Sherman's heart was beating really fast. As soon as Sherman stepped outside, he got an email on his computer. The DNA rebuild was successful. This meant that the DNA had changed. When Sherman woke up the next morning and looked in the mirror, he was shocked. He was so thin, he couldn't believe it himself. How is this possible? He was crying tears of joy. Now Sherman went outside very happy and started yelling everywhere. He said, "Look at me, I'm so smart now." First, he went to the shopping mall and kept admiring himself in different suits. He said, "Look, I look like a model star." The next day, the chemistry teacher came to him, but she didn't recognize Sherman. It was clear that Sherman had become very thin. Now, Sherman didn't want to tell her who he was. He didn't want her to see him as his old self. He gave her a fake name, saying he was a lab assistant. He flirted with her and asked her to go to a club with him. At first, the chemistry teacher didn't agree, but she did because he kept asking. While he was talking to her, his hands started to swell up. He realized he was turning back into his fat self. He quickly got the chemistry teacher out of there so she wouldn't recognize him. Later, when the chemistry teacher met Sherman, Sherman was fat again, so she told him about Buddy. Sherman told her, "You should meet him. He's a very nice guy." The next scene showed Buddy, who was actually Sherman, but now he was thin. When he was thin, he was called Buddy. Also, Buddy drove to the club in a sports car. He was enjoying the ride in the sports car, something he never felt comfortable doing before. Now, the chemistry teacher came, and Buddy and the teacher went into the club. The same comedian who made fun of everyone was there. He greeted everyone in the club. When he tried to insult Buddy again, this time Buddy was confident because he wasn't fat like last time. He fought back, making the comedian feel embarrassed. Now, the comedian and Buddy argued, and they started a fake fight. In the end, Buddy won the fight. Now, the comedian tried to attack Buddy because everyone was praising Buddy, and the chemistry teacher was also impressed by Buddy. She thought, he's so confident. They were talking and having fun when the chemistry teacher noticed Buddy's bottom lip was slowly swelling, and his hands were also swelling. Buddy made an excuse and left, saying he was getting some kind of infection. At the same time, Sherman's lab assistant arrived and saw Sherman's ID card in a waiter's hand. He thought, the waiter got this ID card from Buddy. Now he thought that Buddy stole Professor Sherman's card. Now the lab assistant got into the car with Buddy, who was driving, and he was shocked to see how fat Buddy had become again in the car. And then, he suddenly turned back into Professor Sherman. Now the assistant knew what Sherman was really doing. He realized that Buddy and Sherman were the same person. After that, the lab assistant cut a part of the car and pulled Sherman out because he couldn't fit through the car door. The next day, Sherman was late for his lecture, but there were no students in the class, only the dean. The dean was very angry. He told Sherman about his sports car, which Buddy had bought with Sherman's money. Now the dean forgave him because he had spent a lot of money. The dean said he would fire him if he spent money again, and even threatened to hurt him. He told Sherman, "We have arranged a meeting with our college's big donor. You have to convince him with your speech. Then he might give us money for your weight loss serum." After that, Sherman went to the chemistry teacher and asked her, "How was your dinner with Buddy?" The chemistry teacher said she was confused about whether she loved Buddy or not. His behavior was sometimes normal and sometimes strange. Then Sherman invited her, "Why don't you have dinner with my family tonight?" He invited her for dinner. Now, the chemistry teacher accepted the invitation to have dinner with Sherman's family. When she went there, she felt very uncomfortable because Sherman's family was asking her weird questions. After the bad dinner experience, when Sherman dropped the chemistry teacher off, he apologized for his family's behavior. The chemistry teacher hoped Buddy would call her again. Sherman took the serum again and turned into the thin Buddy. The lab assistant was not happy about this. He told Sherman, "When you take this serum, your hormone levels go up. Friend, if you keep taking this serum, it will control your body. Your personality will change completely. Whenever you take the serum, you act weird and turn into Buddy. You're not as mature as you used to be." The lab assistant tried his best to stop Buddy, but he tricked him and ran away. Buddy went to the hotel with the chemistry teacher that night. This was the same hotel where their college's donor was waiting for the presentation, where Sherman was supposed to talk about his serum. But Sherman wasn't there. The chemistry teacher told Buddy, "Write Sherman's formula for him." Now, Buddy presented Sherman's experimental formula to everyone. He presented it so well that everyone thought he deserved all the credit. The chemistry teacher didn't like this at all because she knew that Sherman had done all the work and Buddy was taking the credit. And he was also flirting with many girls there because his hormone levels were very high. Seeing Buddy like this, the chemistry teacher got angry. She left him there. Buddy didn't care because his personality had completely changed. Now, the dean was very impressed by Buddy. He told him he would give him Sherman's job at the college. They had to present the idea to the head again. Buddy had lost his way in life and was spending most of his time with many girls. Then it was seen that Buddy turned back into Sherman. Sherman didn't understand what was happening to him. He had a dual personality disorder. The chemistry teacher arrived when he was with many girls. She thought that Sherman was like Buddy. Sherman couldn't defend himself because even he didn't understand what was happening. Then he went to the office where the dean told him he was fired because the dean had given Sherman's job to Buddy, and they didn't know that Sherman meant Buddy. Sherman accidentally showed a screen where he checked a message Buddy left for Sherman. Buddy had said, "Your life is so boring. Take this serum and change yourself forever." Buddy was trying to provoke Sherman, but it didn't work. Sherman destroyed all the serum and went to the lab. He decided he would never take it again. Then Sherman took a sip of a drink, but he didn't know that Buddy had put the serum in it. Now Sherman turned back into Buddy. He started acting weird at the bar. The lab assistant saw a warning message on the computer. It said that Buddy's hormone levels were too high. If Sherman took the serum again, he would disappear, and Buddy's personality would stay forever. Buddy was seen entering the bar. Everyone was watching him. Buddy was out of control. He started showing off. Everyone was amazed by the serum's power. When Buddy was about to take another dose of the serum, the lab assistant stopped him. Now that the lab assistant had stopped Buddy from taking the second dose, his hands started swelling again, and his body was also swelling. And he turned back into Sherman, the chemistry teacher, and everyone else, including the people who were there to see Sherman's patents, were shocked. Sherman told everyone, "I did this experiment on myself to help everyone who is overweight and who have health problems. But now I realize this experiment isn't as good as we thought. In the end, we should all accept ourselves as we are, and I need to accept myself too. I need to work hard instead of relying on the serum. I need to make my body healthy by exercising at the gym and eating healthy food." Now Sherman was very worried and was leaving the hall. Meanwhile, the chemistry teacher stopped him and said, "I don't care about your body, I like your soul." Finally, Sherman and the chemistry teacher were shown dancing. The donor who had given money to Sherman's college was also shown. He was telling the dean that he would definitely give Sherman money because Sherman's speech touched his heart. Even though Sherman's experiment failed, it proved that Sherman was an excellent scientist. And the movie ends with this scene.